Who's the one person in your life that most influenced who you are today? For most of you, a name or a face comes immediately to mind. For me, that person was my grandfather. I'm going to take a few minutes to tell you why this man was so special and how his guidance is still the basis of the person I am today. I'm going to give you a brief background of Grandpa, describe growing up with him, and finish by telling you how his legacy lives on even though he's no longer with us. Grandpa grew up in North Dakota in the early 1900s. He's originally from Devil's Lake, North Dakota, and had a mom, a dad, 5 brothers, and 3 sisters. He grew up on a traditional farm, a hard-working family, and part of the reason that they had so many kids back then. If you asked him, he'd probably tell you that's where he learned values such as honesty and hard work. Once he moved on from the farm, he went to World War II, served in the infantry, where it just reinforced those values he'd learned growing up on the farm, and then he went on to work for the IRS as a tax collector. Through his upbringing, Grandpa learned many of the skills that he passed on to me. Growing up with Grandpa, it was a constant learning experience, even if I didn't always recognize it. Yard work's a good example of that. He would put me to work, pay me $5 to mow the lawn, rake it, trim the trees, things that he had taught me to do. And I thought it was great because I would get the $5. He got out of it an evening where he didn't have to mow, but more importantly, he was teaching me hard work, pride in a job well done, patience, and independence. At 7 years old, to go out and mow the lawn was a big deal to me. Take care of your girls. That's something my grandpa would always say to me. I grew up in a single-parent home and had 2 sisters. So my mom, my sisters, my grandma, they were always around, and he'd constantly say this to me: take care of your girls. And it wasn't until later in life that I understood he more generally meant take care of the people that you love, and he was teaching me that all the time. And then finally, the love of the outdoors. Growing up, we always had a lake cabin. Grandpa made sure we had that, and I learned to fish, go to state parks and look at wildlife, and just had freedom to roam the woods. Grandpa would just let me go and didn't worry too much about me. And while Grandpa taught me a lot, but it wasn't until I had 2 boys of my own that I realized just how valuable those lessons really were. Grandpa gave me the skills that I now see myself passing along to my toddler-age children today. Take fishing, for example. My oldest son, Noah, has been fishing since he was 2 years old, and I can't back the boat out of the driveway without him knowing exactly where I'm going and that I'm not taking him with him, if that's the case. We've had many afternoons on the shores of a lake just enjoying wildlife, and every time I'm with him I remember exactly how my grandpa was when he would teach me, not worrying too much about him catching fish, but spending all his time with me. And I try and follow that. It still lives on today. Just the general love of the outdoors. I watch my sons looking at the small things, watching an ant walk across the ground, and it's something I got directly from my grandfather. My enthusiasm as well, when I'm teaching them about those things, is clearly evident, and it's something that I learned from watching him teach me. And just a general respect for others. Both my boys show a strong respect for other people. I believe that's a translation directly of what Grandpa passed on to me, how to treat other people. So in the past few minutes, I've given you a glimpse of how my grandfather's influence not only shaped who I am today, but also future generations that he'll never meet in person. I helped you understand where he came from, how and what he passed on to me, and how those ideas lived through my kids. Grandpa, you are an amazing man. Thank you for everything you shared with me during our time together.